You ever feel like you're broken just because life feels hard? Like everyone else is running ahead and you're the only one stuck, tired, and wondering if you'll ever catch up. I want to tell you something that no one told me for years. You're not broken. Struggling in adulthood isn't proof that you're failing, it's proof that you're human. And today we're going to talk about why so many of us feel this way and how to flip that story on its head. So, you ever wake up and think, is this it? If life is just a never-ending loop of working, paying bills, maybe scrolling for a distraction, and then doing it all again tomorrow. And somewhere in the middle of all that, you look around and wonder, why does everyone else seem fine while I feel like I'm falling apart? If you ever thought that, I need you to hear this. You're not broken for struggling in adulthood. In fact, I'd argue the opposite. The fact that you struggle is proof that you're alive, that you're sensitive to how this world is built, and that you're noticing the cracks most people try to ignore. And before we dive deep into the heavy stuff, let me set the tone with something personal. When I hit my 30s, I thought I'd have life figured out. Career locked in, savings built up, maybe even a little house with enough space for family and peace. Instead, I was in retail, burnout, working late shifts under bosses who micromanaged me into dust. Every paycheck felt like survival math, and every time I looked at social media, it was like everyone else was 3 steps ahead of me. And you know what? I started to believe something was wrong with me, that maybe I just wasn't built for adulthood the way other people were. But here's the twist. When I started actually talking to people, really listening, I realized almost everyone feels this way, even the people who look like they're got it all together. So let's start here. Myth of adulthood. There's this invisible checklist we all grow up with. You know the one. Finish school, get a stable job, buy a house, marry and have kids, be financially secure by 30. And if you don't hit those boxes at the right time, society whispers or sometimes shouts that you are failing. But let's break this down. That checklist, it was written decades ago in a world that doesn't even exist anymore. Wages don't match costs, housing is insane, stability in jobs is basically gone, and yet we still measure ourselves against a script that doesn't fit reality. So when you feel like you're behind, you're not behind. You're measuring yourself against an outdated system that doesn't even make sense today. Here's something no one tells you. Struggling is not the same as failing. Struggling is what happens when reality doesn't match expectations, and you're forced to adapt. Think about gaming for a second. You don't struggle because the game is broken. You struggle because the difficulty curve just got real. That's the point where your skills are being tested, stretched, and grown. Adulthood works the same way. Struggle doesn't mean you're broken. It means life is throwing challenges at you that you're not yet equipped for, but you're learning. Every single day you survive another hard mode level of life. You've leveled up in ways you probably don't even see. But of course, the struggle gets heavier because society loves to pile on weight. Hustle culture tells you that if you're not grinding 24/7, you're lazy. Workplaces expect AAA performance without paying AAA wages. Social media shows you highlight reels of people who made it without showing the years of invisible struggle behind the scenes. So naturally, you look at yourself and think, why not me? Why can't I keep up? Here's the truth. You're not supposed to keep up with an unrealistic system. You're supposed to build your own pace, your own definition of success. Let me tell you something that flipped my whole perspective. The people who never struggle, they rarely grow. They rarely develop empathy, resilience, or creativity. It's the ones who hit walls, who feel lost, who have to grind through self-doubt. Those are the ones who end up with a kind of depth that you just can't fake. When I was at my lowest, hating my job, losing friends, feeling like I was invisible, that's when I started learning how to listen, how to serve, how to connect. And now, years later, those skills are the reason I can create videos like this, speak from the heart, and connect with people I've never even met. So no, you're not broken for struggling. You're being shaped. And if you're thinking, sure, but my struggle feels endless, stick with me. Because in a minute, I want to talk about the real enemy here, comparison. The thing that convinces us we're broken when in reality, we're just human. So let's just dive into it. Here's where the struggle cuts the deepest. Comparison. We've all done it. You scroll through Instagram or LinkedIn and suddenly you feel like you're standing still while everyone else is sprinting ahead. One friend just bought a house, another got promoted. Someone else is posting vacation photos from a beach you can't even afford to Google flights for. And you look at your own life and think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get it together? But let's pause. That comparison, it's not real. You're comparing your behind the scenes footage to someone else's highlight reel. They have their own invisible struggles, the ones they don't show, the fights with their partner, the depth, the nights where they cry themselves to sleep. Comparison is like trying to measure your progress in a game by watching someone else's stream. You have no idea what difficulty setting they're on, you don't know what cheat codes they unlocked, and you don't know what battles they're hiding off camera. So here's the reframe. When you feel like you're falling behind, remember, life is not a race. It's not even a fair playing field. Everyone has different starting points, obstacles, and timelines. The fact that you're still here, pushing through, even when it feels like you're moving in slow motion, that's strength. And let's be real, adulthood is not what we were promised. As kids, we thought growing up meant freedom, staying up late, eating whatever we wanted, making our own rules. But when we actually got here, turns out adulthood comes with endless responsibilities. Bills, debt, jobs, chores, family obligations. Freedom exists for sure, but it's buried under a mountain of pressure. The truth is, the system we live in is designed to keep you running. Workplaces want more from you than they give. Society pushes you to prove your worth through productivity, and the cost of simply existing keeps going up. So, if you're struggling, it's not because you're weak, it's because you're human in a world that demands superhuman energy just to stay afloat. Here's something you might not realize. Struggle leaves gifts behind. Every time you get back up after life knocks you down, you're building resilience. Every time you find a way to stretch a paycheck, you're sharpening creativity. Every time you wrestle with self-doubt, you're developing empathy for others who feel the same. Just think about it, guys. Who do you trust more? The person who claims they've had it easy, or the one who admits they've been through hell and came out the other side? Struggle shapes depth. Struggles shapes character. Struggle gives you the kind of perspective that makes your voice worth listening to. So no, you're not broken. You're being forged. One of the hardest parts about adulthood is how lonely it can feel. Friends drift away, family gets busy, you're juggling work, bills, maybe kids, and suddenly those long nights of hanging out and laughing with friends become rare. And it's easy to think, am I the only one feeling like this? But here's the twist. Almost everyone feels this way, they just don't say it out loud. Loneliness in adulthood is a silent epidemic, and sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit it, so others realize they're not alone either. That's why conversations like this matter, because when you realize other people are also struggling, the weight feels a little lighter. Now let's get practical. What do you do when life feels overwhelming? You don't need to flip your life upside down overnight, just start small. Take one thing off your plate that doesn't matter. Reach out to one friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Do one habit that makes you feel better, a walk, journaling, even gaming if that's your escape. Small steps compound, just like in a game. Tiny moves forward eventually stack into progress. You don't need to win adulthood today, you just need to keep moving. I can't make this video without bringing gaming into it. Think about it. Gaming and adulthood have so much in common. You don't always choose the map you dropped into. Sometimes you get a great team, sometimes you're solo queuing through chaos, and often you fail way more than you win. But here's the thing, you don't rage quit after one loss. You keep playing, you learn the map, adapt your strategy, and slowly you get better. That's adulthood. It's not about having a perfect run, it's about staying in the game even when it feels unfair. And let me say this again, louder this time even. You are not broken for struggling in adulthood. Struggle is the sign that you're alive, that you care, that you're trying in a world that doesn't make it easy. You're not failing, you are fighting, and that matters more than you know. So the next time you look in the mirror and think, I'm not enough, I want you to replace it with this. I'm human, I'm growing, I'm not broken. Now listen, if this resonated with you, I want you to take one thing away. You don't need to fix yourself. You don't need to meet society's timeline. You don't need to be flawless. You just need to keep going. Because in the end, the people who keep going, even when it's messy, even when it's hard, those are the ones who build lives worth living. And if you need a reminder, hit subscribe, because that's what I'm building here. A corner of the internet where people like us, the strugglers, the fighters, the quiet believers, can remind each other that we're not broken. We're building. See you in the next one, guys.